Hey everybody, it's Thea. Welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot. Today we've got a video, a little bit of a tarot roundup in a way, so to speak, and we're going to be talking about Tarot de Marseille. So if you like Marseille decks, if you're curious about them, you want to know a little bit more about them, this is going to be a fun time. If not, that's cool. We're just going to chat. Come hang if you want. You know how it is. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your mom. But as for the lens of tarot roundup, the last couple months have been weird. Like not weird and bad weird, but just like different. As a rule, I've been engaging with tarot very differently than I usually do. I haven't brought in any new decks since before Christmas. Is that true? Might be. Yeah, I think it is. So it's a bit different with me. So it's given me a lot of time to kind of work with what I got, revisit what I've got, a bit decluttering in the background, just streamlining and just like, you know, just having a fun time without eyes on me. It's been fun. The member space is still bumping. I've got to put up like 17 videos, not to mention the readings I do in there. So there's a ton of content there. But when it comes to, you know, new and exciting and, you know, over-analyzing the way I do things, I've kind of stepped away from doing that for right now. You know, not putting things into categories, not putting labels on things, just like naturally engaging with tarot as the need arises, which doesn't make for very interesting video content, but it's actually a really great way to go about using decks. So I've kind of been doing that a lot, which is fun. But specifically the last couple weeks, month or so, I've been really finding a sweet spot using TDM decks, Tarot de Marseille decks, pip decks, just decks that are clear, decks that are without bells and whistles, and that really, in a really aesthetic and surface level, just feel like tarot. In a, I don't know, a more historic form, even though a lot of my Marseille decks are not historic whatsoever. Well, as I said, we'll go through the pile of them. We're gonna go through one by one and just have a look and see what's going on there. But I've been having a great time with them, and we're just gonna have a Tarot de Marseille day today. So for those of you that are not, I'm sure all of you are, because you're geniuses, and if you're here you love tarot. But if you don't know, Tarot de Marseille is a French tarot system. It's still got the regular 78 cards. It more closely mirrors playing cards in that the minors, instead of having scenes on them, have what we call pips, and Marseille style pips are very specific as their arrangement of our wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. So they're beautiful. They're such a work of art, and they're clean and stripped back, but still have so much of the essence of the origins of tarot within them. Tarot de Marseille are very European. If you ask a European to picture a tarot deck, like a continental European to picture a tarot deck, chances are they're going to picture a TDM deck, a Tarot de Marseille deck, as opposed to the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite Smith was really like North American and developed in England. It really didn't take off there in the same way that it has over here as our staple tarot. Marseille decks are older than Rider-Waite Smith, and they kind of came out of the Italian tradition, where tarot kind of, its historic origins potentially lie. I'm not going to start an argument about that, because who knows? Who knows? And does it really matter? What matters is the present moment, and the present moment is where we are now, where we have access to all these different decks, and we're going to use them the way we're going to use them. And in my personal frame lens of looking, specifically where they came from could have meaning if you want it to, but it also can if you don't. Up to you to decide whether those have meaning or not. You can't expect other people to believe the same thing as you. So, TDM decks. They're beautiful. They're usually, sometimes if they're Italian, they'll have Italian names on them, but for the most part, traditional Marseille decks have French titles, and a few of the titles have been changed. If I come across any, we'll show you, but no big deal. This isn't like a intro TDM 101. But when I talk about how I read them, some people may cringe, because there is a specific, more cartomantic way of reading them, which I'm going to be getting into. I've got a couple of reference books I'm going to show you about not the best way, but ways to read Marseille decks. I tend to squish the way I read across system, like Thoth, Rider-Waite Smith, Marseille, or like Golden Dawn decks versus Pip and pre-Golden Dawn decks. I read them very similarly. which some people are like, no, you can't read a Marseille deck using Golden Dawn associations. And I go, you want to bet? I've kind of developed my own style of reading and can read anything and will read anything, and you can't stop me, which is my perspective on how we go about tarot. Tarot purists might be rolling in their little seats, but whatever. I do what I do. It works. And if it works, then, you know, have at it. Tarot's fun. It's not worth dying on hills for. But specifically, I read very elementally and numerologically, so I still hang on to the elements in Rider-Waite-Smith decks as really the base of the message of the meaning of that card, and then the numerology on top of that, and then you can expand on the meaning based on, you know, scenic references, imagery references. With Marseille, direction is really important as well, just for the way the direction that the characters on the cards are facing, which can be adopted throughout Thoth and Marseille as well. Like there's no rules, guys. Like there's rules, but there's no rules. So I read in a very fluid and organic way that way, but with Marseille, it does tend to be more clear and less scenically influenced for me personally, and it really boils it down to the numerology and the element of the card. And then for the core cards as well, their elemental associations still kind of form the basis of like the personality of that card that is applied in the context of a reading. So anyway, ramble aside, I'm sure you're sick of looking at my face. Let's look at some decks. Let's have a look and see what I've got going on. There's a good spread. I don't have that many. Like, all considering there are so many of them out there. Oh my gosh, so many different editions, variations, and that sort of thing. But it's the kind of thing that is easy to keep it streamlined. Because you can get the feeling that they're all the same, but they're all also different. And I've got a couple that like almost squeak by. And I did pick specifically Marseille style decks, decks that are influenced strongly by Marseille. General pip decks were not included because I don't count them as Marseille decks. Like if they've got pips, then that doesn't necessarily mean they're a Marseille deck. But there's one that's kind of like close. And then there's another that goes its own way also a little bit. And we'll look at those as we go. Compare and contrast. Just like an exploration of Marseille decks. So that being said, let's go have a look at the decks I've got on my table. Feel the fun, feel the magic of tarot, and just have a good time. Alrighto. Here we go. Here they are. This is it. These are all my, what I would consider Marseille decks in my collection. And this one is questionable. We'll have a look at that one in a minute. But yeah, for the most part, it's a good spread. The truest Marseille decks that I've got, like, and this one isn't it's a Visconti tarot. This one's an old Italian one, but it's close, so it almost doesn't count also. But I think these two here are the closest to what a tarot de Marseille is. And that being said, I probably use these ones the most, other than I use this guy a lot, but we'll talk about him in a second. There's a lot of talking about things in a second. But this is the Nicholas Conver Tarot de Marseille. This is the Artisan Tarot. And full disclosure, I have finally decided to go ahead and order a bunch of the other historic reproductions that Artisan Tarot does for a bunch of their other decks. And I'm pretty excited about them getting here, which is probably should have waited, but maybe we'll do an unboxing once they get here. If not here, then in the member space. But there it is. It's bright, it's clear. What a stunner. Box, you can see. But this one, it's beautiful linen finish. This is one of my the production value is incredible, but it's a historical reproduction, so they've taken the originals found in various museums in France and cleaned them up basically. So what happens is, if you look at the Piatnik and a few other reproductions, the woodblock printing that they used to do, and then you go in and color them in after. It gets kind of muddy after years and years of printing with the same wood blocks. That's why you get the different versions of Tarot de Marseille. So this is the Conver one based on the Nicholas Conver printing and publication. And for me, this is like your bog standard Marseille. This is when I think of Marseille. This is what I think of. So. And when you look at it, it gives me the same feeling as looking at a like bog standard Rider-Waite-Smith as well, right? Like, it's nothing flashy, it's just tarot. That's the Three of Swords, it's the Three of Swords. It's the Page of Wands, it's the Page of Wands. Eight of Swords, Eight of Swords. You know? And then and really, instead of individually experiencing the cards, the magic comes when you put them together in a reading, which is, I think, where the real skill in tarot reading lies. Being able to find the meaning in a spread of multiple cards. So, anywho, this is the Artisan Tarot Conver Tarot de Marseille, and this guy has been just like out the last little while, and I've been loving the pants off it. And I don't need to tell you twice, or 3 times, or 10 times. So that's your bog standard. That's the basic little guy. The other guy is this. This is an old little vintage one, and also clock this bag. Isn't this gorgeous? Beautiful friend Johnny made this for me. What an angel. When I met up with her in Toronto a few months ago. The vlog of that is also in the member space. But this is the Tarot Classic. Now this is an AGM deck made in Switzerland by US Games. So how fun. And there's a booklet in here still, or did I take it out? Oh, it is. I just want to see a year on this, if I've got it. 1971. Copyright Stuart Kaplan. So it might have been printed after that, but that's the publication date. And just judging by the looks of it, it could be around that old. How many other publication pages? Boxes. Oh wait, here we go. 1974. The book was printed, or it was published in 1971, but 1974. Still not new. Anywho, this one, it's gonna look very similar to the Nicholas Conver, but colored a little differently. Well, let me see. Hold on. Don't take me as an expert, obviously, on Tarot de Marseille. I'm more of an enthusiast of reading with them as opposed to the study of them. Because there's a whole field of historical study of Marseille decks that is scientific in nature, right? Tracing them back to where they came from, the nature, exactly where in France that particular printing came from and when, and the story of how tarot made its way across the European continent. It's fascinating, but I'm not one to be any good at telling you about it. But anyway, it's easy enough to tell that this is the Knight of Cups, and without knowing necessarily where and when it came from, I know that it's a Knight of Cups and we'll read it as such. So the colors in this one are soft and pretty, and I enjoy it thoroughly. Yeah, we got lots more pinks and blues and greens, so it does have a more 70s feel of it. And I imagine the coloration was definitely a product of the 70s, but the black, the inking, and the shape of the images, I'm imagining is more historic. But don't quote me. Could be wrong. This could be entirely just the here we go. I should just read the back of the box. Based upon the original 18th century woodcuts by Claude Burdel. There you go. That's who it is. But there's a ton of them. There's the Jean Dodal, there's the Jean Noblet, the Nicholas Conver, the Jacques Viville. Is that right? Did I say them all right? And then this one here is the Roland Nordic. So there's a ton, and they all look slightly similar, but they all kind of go their own way in little bits with how they choose to do the florals, how they choose to do the coloring, the shape of the cups, the shape of the pentacles, and that sort of thing. But I love the ones. There's the green. It's beautiful. This one matches so many things. It's amazing. And you'll see the way they do the numbers too. The 9. Instead of IX, it's VIIII, which is an older way of doing Roman numerals. The 4, instead of IV, it's just 4 I's. So, very curious. Hanged Man. Look at him, he's got a little beard. It's the same but different. Anyway, as I said, I'm not a TDM scholar, but this one is one of my favorites, and one of the closest to, a bog standard older Marseille deck. And I'm very curious and eager to learn and know more. So if you do have a favorite Marseille deck, please leave it in the comments below. I will investigate with enthusiasm. Oh, beautiful moon. Marseille deck, moon, sun, and star cards are some of the most beautiful tarot cards you're ever going to come across. I would tattoo them on my body. And there is a magic in the essence of them being an older, further in time, which just means more persistent and pervasive image of tarot. It's just been around longer. Oh, it's good. Nice. Okay. Instead of good. And so here we've got it called the Tower. Occasionally in Marseille decks, it's called La Maison Dieu, or the House of God. There's a couple of different versions, image-wise, of it. There's our Death. And this one, it's named, so sometimes it doesn't even have a name on it. It'll just be card number 13 with no name. So that's curious there. What a fun one. Anywho, that there is Tarot Classic, and a fantastic one to whip out and use as a clarifier with so many other tarot decks, or just use on its own. And this one, it's obviously not in print at the moment, but you can find it super cheap popping up on eBay. I will say it's around. You just gotta be patient for it. Because I think I got that one for like $10 plus shipping. So yes, that's that one. I guess while we're here, we'll go back a little bit further. This is the Visconti Tarot, and this is an Italian one based on the Visconti Sforza, the little mini guy, which was printed in 1452, and then this was a reprinting which has been restored by Mr. Tanisov, who also did the Botticelli Tarot, the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, and maybe the Klimt one was him as well. This is my tiniest tarot deck, and I wish I could zoom you in further, because it is so small, but it's a good little pocket guy. But you'll see this is like, it's kind of a Marseille deck when you look at the pips, but they're in different arrangements, but you can kind of remember the cups from the Tarot Classic do kind of mirror these guys, but the court cards and the majors are more painterly and more scenic, have a little bit more of a scenic vibe to them, so I don't know, it's just beautiful. I try not to, specifically put decks in boxes, because really a tarot deck is a tarot deck, and analyzing them as their own separate thing, you're going to get as many tarot decks that exist. That's how many different there are. Like, they're all so different, even though they're the same. And ultimately, their essence of them is still tarot. As long as it's got 78 cards. The Ace of Cups in Marseille decks is another beautiful one. The Aces, that Two of Pentacles with the creator and publisher's name usually on it. Or printers, I guess. Three of Swords. Very beautiful. I keep saying like, oh, I should get the Sforza in a bigger one, like I think it's called the Golden Tarot, is a copy of the Visconti Sforza that's mass market. Not the Rider-Waite-Smith old Golden Tarot, but there's a Golden Tarot that's the Visconti, and it's got huge cards. But something about these little tiny guys is just amazing. Loving it. There's our Fool, Mato, in Italian, 4 wands. And in theory, I could trim these borders off and make them even smaller. Look at those backs. Cute. But yeah. So yeah. He's out and about and adorable. Hanged Man. And it's weird. Marseille decks have that, like, they're halfway between, well, they are a tarot deck, but like halfway between a tarot deck and a pack of playing cards. Look at that devil card. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. Oh, and this one's a very exciting tower. Anywho, super fun. I should use this more. Lives on the shelf downstairs, though, so he's kind of only comes out for special occasions. He's so small. I love shuffling it, too, because it's tiny, and usually I've etched it in black. It's difficult to see. But let's... Good riffles. Oh, look at him. Wow. So fun. Ooh, Hanged Man. 7 wands. And the Moon. Which is interesting for a moon. So there's a woman on it, and she's holding a moon. So very, very different than what we're used to seeing in Rider-Waite-Smith or Marseille decks. But how fun. Love that for me. Honestly, it's an accurate reflection of where I'm at the moment. So we're not mad about it. So... That's the Visconti Tarot. And this one is definitely still available, I think, from Lo Scarabeo. What a cutie. The Inversion Tarot. This one is... I've used it a ton in readings, and just lately, I think I've even mentioned it in the last year-end video I did, but it's inspired by the artwork created in 1960 by Paul Matheson for the Roland Nordic Tarot. So, like, old but not that old. It's line drawings, but it's been inverted in this case, and it based on the ancient Marseille tarot tradition. So, little book, cute backs, and a black and white girly, which I love. I love the stripped back color palette of most of these decks. It's fantastic. This one, black and white. It's a good small size as well. Not as small as the little Visconti one, but a good tiny size. And you'll never get a Marseille deck. I say that. I haven't come across a Marseille deck with bad cardstock so far. They're all shuffleable and good because I feel like they have a certain respect for tarot and its functionality, because with a Marseille deck, it really has to be functional. You're not, like, you can sit and flip through them, but for the most part, I feel like that, you know, they want to be used. Marseille decks want to be used, but incredible. So beautiful. You know, echoes of the Rider-Waite-Smith there. Mind you, I say that. Where's the Conver? Let's see if I can find him. I want to put them all in order and compare them all to each other. I just want to see if his leg's bent in this one. Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's where it came from. And then the Golden Dawn kind of decided that that meant certain things. Very curious. So yeah, very similar to the Conver, but slightly different as well. So interesting. And it doesn't have to mean anything. Is it? Is it not? I don't know. I'm just experiencing it. The pips on this one, so they're not arranged in the what I would consider a standard Marseille fashion. They're just kind of more pippish, more pip-like. So with this 5, we've got these 3 wands kind of hovering above these 2 that are on their side in repose, in, you know, being dominated by these other 3 wands, which again, some are, it's very interesting. You can work with that if you want, or you can just read it as, you know, 5 being the troublesome number, of wands being creativity and drive and will and passion and all that fire encompasses, right? So like that's kind of what you can go with, but it'll all depend. And I heard someone say recently in a video, I forget where it was. I'm sorry. I apologize deeply if I forget who said it, but someone recently was talking about how even if you pull the same tarot card, you're never going to read it the same way twice. Like, the meaning of that card is entirely locked to the present moment in which you're experiencing it. So, you know, that can come up 10 different times, and it'll have 10 different meanings each time, and each meaning will be no less correct than the other. Because that's how tarot works. Tarot, it really works best when you're forward-facing. You know, you get the best results, you get the most accurate readings when you use tarot in a proactive, forward-facing kind of way, instead of a retroactive, reminiscing, ruminating type of way. I think. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby who likes cute little tarot decks. But yeah. So yeah, this one, the Inversion Tarot, based on the Roland Nordic. This one, just because of the color palette, the black and whiteness of it. You know I love a black and white deck, and it matches everything. Oh, beautiful. We still got our pillars. You know, there's hints. Stunning. I don't know. I love it. Everything is everything. Past, present, future, all exist at the same time. Right now. Okay, that's that one. I have edged it in black as well, so it disappears. Oop. Light. It's really weird and overcast today. I saw a rainbow yesterday. It was a double rainbow. And guys, it's February. It was thunderstorming, and there was a double rainbow in February. I don't think in my whole however many years I've been alive I've ever seen that. So, pretty wild. Yep, strength. Which I didn't even mention. Usually in Marseille decks, I stuck her back in. I don't know where she is. Strength's usually at 11. Justice is 8. But I say usually, lots of decks it goes the other way. So it really depends on the deck. Entirely. Let's have a look at, oh, this one's fun. Let's do it. NSFW, guys. This is the Eros Tarot. This is an Uzi deck, and when I say I love this deck, this one is like my party deck. If I'm ever going to read at a party, if I'm going to a group of people who just want to have a good time, I always bring this one. It's fantastic. The box, can you see? Those are boobs. Yes. The Garden of Love Tarot by Uzi. That's good. Feels just like the Pagan Otherworlds in cardstock. Oh, we got our beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? And then there's bits. All the cards have something like incredibly rude on them. All of the hilts of the swords. There's bondage rope. It's fun. Oh, and we have an extra card in it. As Uzi likes to do, put in a little secret card. Almost like their title card. It's beautiful. I left it in. But again, you see the formation. Clean, simple colors. It's like the restrictions of the style of Marseille leads to intricate creativity. Little cherubs. Oh my gosh. Look at the tower! Wow. Oh, I love this one. This one is so good. Like, yep. Mouths, bits. I don't know, but because they're cartoon bits, it's like it's not as offensive. I don't know. It's just fun. It's silly. Oh, I love that. I love the circle of ring for symbolic as well as experiential purposes, shall we say. A lot of wands right there. Judgment. Little bees. Different take on Judgment there. Justice. I love this Justice card. Look at it. This is probably my favorite card in the whole deck. And the little mouse. Seeing all the things. I love that. Lots of snake motifs. Imagery in this as well. And then the quartz are not subtle. Like, they're kind of subtle, some of them a little bit, but they're really not. Yeah, there's our High Priestess, our Popess. And even just in the way, like, the curtains have been... Oh, it's... If you didn't know. Would you? What a fun double as well. Party time. So yeah. Eros Garden of Love Tarot. A very fun modern take on a Marseille deck. That's a Queen of Cups. Two of Swords. Rude. Oh, there's the moon! There's like an Edward Lear song going through my head. Owl and the Pussycat. And they dance by the light of the moon. And they dance by the light of the moon. Ah, I would love an Edward Lear deck. That would be fun. Doesn't even have to have the limericks on it, just like the images. Okay, we're not gonna go through the whole thing, but it's a good one. And a fun time. Great for parties. Ready, before we get into the ones that do kind of different and weird things, I've got this one. And this is probably one of the biggest tarot decks I have. It's huge. This is the Tarot Noir. Ordered this one from France. And it's hard to shuffle. Gilding. It's glossy cardstock, but that's okay. They're beautiful though. This is one of the best looking, artistic wise, Marseille decks. And here we have an example of La Maison Dieu, the House of God. But again, you can tell the influence. Like, tarot, the imagery is held on in the classics over the years, which just, reinforces the symbolic nature, like the power of symbols throughout human history. A picture holds 1,000 words, and so much more even. Like, words are limiting. Language is limiting. You can only say so much with words. But symbols, you remember them more. I don't know. They're everything. But these little faces, they give me early Tim Burton. As a recovering emo kid from the early 2000s, / you never recover for something like that. This deck really, really makes that little part of me very happy. My current obsession of listening to my pop punk revival playlist will, it's not stopping anytime soon. But they're big, like the big cards are beautiful. This is the one that I've been really enjoying. It's been on my altar. I've gotten rid of all of the other decks off the altar, and I just have been pulling a couple of Marseille cards every couple days whenever I need something. And it's been doing it. It's been buttering my muffin, so to speak. So I love it. But they're beautiful to look at. Just a good excuse to, oh, look at that star. Look at her. They're just so beautiful. Nothing different. Hermit's the hermit. Ace of Wands is the Ace of Wands. Always happy to see him. Never not happy to see the Fool. And in this case, he's got more of a vagabond, vagrant, wanderer sort of feel about him. He's got a jester's hat on. He's living in his own world, really. He's going off on it. And really, aren't we all? Aren't we all in our own little world? Oh, the swords in this are so pretty. Almost not mad when I get a sword in them in these decks. Marseille in general. It takes the harshness of the swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith is taken off, but really, if you look into the cartomantic meanings of the swords, they are harsh. They're hard. They're not pleasant. But again, I am of the school that there is no bad cards. A message is a message, whether you need to hear it or not. Moralizing as justice comes up in a justice month, in a justice year, as justice comes up. I feel like with tarot doesn't moralize things. Tarot doesn't tell you what you should and shouldn't do. Tarot doesn't care what you do. Tarot doesn't know what you should or should not do. It's just there to give you the message that you need in the time, the information you need to hear, to do the things that you're going to do, make the decisions you're going to make, and whether those are good or bad, or how many people they benefit versus how many they don't, tarot doesn't care. It doesn't have a hand in that. Tarot is just a message. Tarot is just a letter. It is information for you to use as you will. You are in control of your life. And in the same breath, I'm going to say you're in control of your life, but the decisions that it leads you to make were the decisions you were always going to make, and that is what you needed to see in the time. So live in the paradox, guys. Live in the paradox. But I feel like, overly morally ridden tarot cards, tarot readings, interactions with tarot are kind of missing the magic, right? I feel like really stripping away the morality, the good and the bad, the should and the shouldn't from doing readings, you get the clear and pure message that you needed for you. And you don't need to bounce that meaning or message off of anybody else. That's just for you. That's for you to use, get what you need out of it. And there's no reason to, cross-reference it with societal expectation in any way whatsoever. Your morals are your morals. Tarot doesn't affect those in any way. So try and remember that, and go easy on yourself, right? If you're beating yourself up while you're doing your tarot readings based on moral quandaries, and you feel like the tarot is always telling you shouldn't do something, I don't know, maybe get up and ask the deck why. Why are you telling me this? Why do you keep telling me should and shouldn't? Tarot's a mirror.
A mirror that talks back. So ask the questions. Ask the hard questions. There's our Pope. Look at I love that the supplicant is in the Pope are sheep. Love it. They've got a little shepherd hook as well. Gorgeous deck. Anywho, this is the Le Tarot Noir. Pretty sure it's still available. Book that it comes with is French though, so just a heads up. You gotta kind of know what you're doing. And if you've already got a base knowledge of tarot and you're afraid because you think it's different, just pick one up and try. Like, pull some cards. You don't have to be right. You don't have to, like, there is no right. Just give it a try. See how you feel about it. Like, don't feel like you have to be at a certain level of tarot to try using a Marseille deck for yourself. I think you'll find that you get to know your own personal meanings for the cards a lot better with a Marseille deck. You'll know what the Seven of Pentacles means to you more so in a Marseille deck than in a deck that tells you what it wants you to think, right? Marseille decks really lean on your intuitive nature to pick up those messages for you in the time, which is why I love them for clarification and on their own. They're just great. Love them so much. And I love them. They're great. They're no better. We're not saying they're better or worse. They're just different. Can be used in different ways. I'm better, worse, best, least best. It doesn't exist. We just made it up. Things are different. The end. You know, better and worse is like you live in a two-dimensional world where everything is in a line, but it's not. We live in 3 dimensions plus time, so everything just kind of goes out as opposed to straight across. So having a hierarchy doesn't make any sense in the way the world that we live in is. You know? It's like reducing things down. And then if you don't keep going, you don't realize that once you reduce things down, you just come out where you started again. You know? Anyway, bit of a ramble. Okay, we went through that whole one. That's the Tarot Noir. A beautiful Marseille deck. A fun time. And I've been loving the heck out of it on the space. Actually, that's a lie. It's missing one card because it's out for me right now. But yeah, a treat and a treasure. Okay, and the last, we've got two of the little weird guys. Oh, and I could also grab one that's like kind of, but not really. Does it count? Maybe it will. While we're here, we got time. I got time. If you don't have time, put it on 2 times speed. I forgot about this. I was staring right at it earlier. This one and this one are kind of in the same camp. Okay. I think I will start with this one. Tarot of the Drowning World by Phil Mouse Workshop. Dr. Falk's Tarot of the Drowning World. These by the same creators as the Carnival at the End of the World tarot. This one is it's one of, I love photography decks. It's so beautiful. It's floral, it's moody, it's wet and watery. It's incredible, and she always shows up in the best way in readings for folks. Another one that's big and kind of unruly in the shuffling department. I've got a shuffler like this because she's just so long and slippy, but I will put up with it because she's gorgeous. And here we go. So I say this is a Marseille deck because the meanings and the way it's numbered and titled are Marseille, but you'll notice that, like, for example, this is 10 of Swords. There's 10 swords, sickles in this case, on it, but it's not the regular configuration of Marseille. But it does still kind of have a little bit of a Marseille flair to it, and there's also a couple of extra bonus cards within it as well. But I like pulling in what messages I get from the florals and the vegetables and like the random objects. It's almost like an I Spy game. That's tarot. And then, you know, the very unassuming titles in the bottom, it just really lets you kind of literally dive into the card because, you know, everyone's floating, everyone's drowned. It's very emotional. It's a very suspended. It's like if I could give a card that would describe the essence of this whole deck, it's the Hangman. It really is. It's very mem. It's very water. Look at that moon card. With the surf all the way around. Oh, and the hydrangeas. I'm obsessed. I'm gagged. You know, wheat and that's broccoli. Oh no, it's cabbage. Broccoli and cabbage. And then all the dahlias. It's incredible. The amount of work, that went into photographing these. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. It really is. And I like it, but it's you know, it touches the edge of Marseille, but like it is, but it isn't, depending on who you ask. Yeah, these are some of the bonus cards. They're almost like they're characters. They're little extra almost oracly character cards that tacked on at the end of the major arcana. Strength card. I like that one. I like it a lot. Stunning. Her court cards. Look at the mushrooms. There's face made of mushrooms. This is the page ones. Le Fou. So French titles as well. Numbered the same way Marseille decks are. Ace of Swords. Brassicas. The Cups. I love it. It's murky. It's gritty. It's got grit, but it's also beautiful. The contrast. Oh, look at that. That's golden hour sunshine right there, too. Stunning. Poop. Knight of Pentacles. Big ol' loaf of bread shaped like a horse. Four Swords. Very interesting there. Ace of Cups. Knight of Swords. The Chariot. Wow, lots to go on. But again, is Marseille? Is not Marseille. There's our Hanged Man as well. Lovers. Yeah. Passion project. Work of art. Stunning. No end of bits to dive into. To literally dive into with this one. So it's the Terror of the Drowning World. And okay, so with this one, because it's so busy, it's lacking the clarity that other Marseille decks have, even though it's like inspired by, it was created from the mind of a Marseille deck. It really goes its own way. It like takes Marseille and runs with it a little bit. So when it comes to clarifying with this, I do, but it doesn't have the quick, snappy clarity that something more stripped back and simple would have, because there's just so much going on, so much to look for. So like you find yourself looking for the message in the minutia of all that's going on in the image, as opposed to just, you know, seeing like this or like this, you know. They're the same but different. It's wild. Oof. Look at her. Look at that star. She's gorgeous. Oh, the Nine of Pentacles. Look at the citrus. Sorry, I'm obsessed. And the peaches. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, and death. Look at it. Sorry. Look at how beautiful this is. And then immediately apologize. What a weirdo I am. But, anywho. There we go. Terror of the Drowning World. Wow. Magician. Le Bateleur. Yeah, no, each card is a work of art and a masterpiece. And a joy. So that one is like a Marseille. Is not really. I forget what the book says. Let me grab it. Just as I'm curious. Guys, the amount of times I wish I could Control F a text, like a paper document, way too often. Alrighty. There's a whole adventure you go on with the context around this deck and its creation and the world building and just the way you experience the information in this deck. It can keep you busy for a lifetime, this one. And it reminds me that I do need to spend some more time with the information about it. There's a lot of juicy and good stuff in here. But specifically, The Tarot of the Drowned World is inhabited by representatives of the 22 trumps and 56 pips following our general schema of a group of traditional decks currently referred to as the Tarot de Marseille. The trumps numbered 0 to 21 are commonly known as Major Arcana. Of particular note to the Drowned World is the French 18th century history, also an influence upon the Carnival at the End of the World. France during the 18th century is an important time and place for tarot history, having brought up noticeable Cardamenti commentators and concepts, most especially Theia, which you'll notice is the beginning of where the Golden Dawn ideas started to pop into, like, what we consider a Golden Dawn tarot starts to kind of form around then. The algebra teacher and cartomancer, formerly known as Monsieur Eliot, Theia just being his name backwards, has among his many important equations first codified and made popular division with the pip cards. The Protestant Freemason pastor antiquarian Antoine Carte Gobelin wrote a compelling and historically influential, if factually incorrect, history of the tarot, the Egyptian origins of the tarot, which I said specifically in the beginning of this video we were not going to talk about that. Pre-revolutionary French themes are in the mix, stewing and steeping and transmuting further. So, anywho, you can go on a wild ride. Yoav Bendov, who restored and adapted reproduction of the 1760 Nicholas Conver, Tarot de Marseille, remember this is our Conver, is a popular choice since its 2010 publication. As I said, everybody has their own idea of the cards. Please know that the tarot community, like many these days, has partisans and fundamentalists, of which we are neither, but who you may be or meet. And so we serve you these caveats. The open reading approach riles at many a gatekeeping diviner who has strictly memorized a set of rigid fixed correspondences and who will argue it is heresy to interpret a given card any other way. Heard this before. Some diviners will also fight about the nature of questions to be put to the cards, or why consult the cards at all. We ourselves strive to know, acknowledge, credit, and honor historical precedents while also adapting and evolving to suit the moment, and we value understanding lineage and grammar as well as artful poetic innovation. We adapt a method as our own if it repeatedly archives for us the intended purpose. So yeah, that's exactly what I've been saying. It's like, it's tarot. You do what you want. Don't listen to the people who form a particular camp about something, or if that works for them, they can do it. But as soon as one person starts preaching too hard about the way you should do tarot specifically, red flags get thrown up for me. Anyway, I was just trying to, point out specifically how this deck is based around the Tarot de Marseille tradition. But we got extra. We got other things. Okay, and two more. Let's bang them out. These two are kind of in the same style in that they have the essence of a Marseille deck, but they've illustrated the pips, which turns out I kind of like. So the pip card, I do love a pip card, but something about an illustrated pip is just exciting to me. So this is the Triomphe de la Luna Paradoxical Illustrated Pips Edition. Patrick Valenza, Deviant Moon Studios. I've edged it in black, as per always. And it kind of, it really turns it into a Rider-Waite-Smith deck with Marseille majors. And then this is the Tarot de Marseille Waite, another one from France. And we'll look at them side by side because they're in the same kind of deck family, which is basically taken an illustrated pips approach to a otherwise kind of Marseille deck. So we'll look at them, form your own opinions. Tell me what you think of them. There's also another one by Artisan Tarot that they've just come out with. What did they call it? The Rider Marseille Tarot as well. So it takes Marseille majors and then illustrates the pips, but it also includes more of the pippish elements in them. I'm really excited for that one. That's one of the ones that I've ordered and I'm waiting on. So maybe we'll do a little walkthrough of it when it gets here. But for now, let's look at these ones. This one is more of a neutral color palette, more organic. You really feel the Rider-Waite-Smith influence here, but with the very medieval art style, like even more medieval art style of a Marseille deck. But it's the more I use it, the more I think about it, it really does kind of land in a more Rider-Waite-Smith than Marseille in feel and how it reads. And this one, it's dark, it's spooky, it's kind of abrasive in the brightness amidst the darkness of the inverted imagery. But I don't know. They're really both their own thing. They're like a mishmash of two ideas, and the result of that mishmash has created its own thing. And I like them. They both feel like tarot. I tend to use this one more than this one. I don't know why. I love, like, I enjoy Deviant Moon decks, but I find I reach for them not as often. I don't know. Maybe just because they're so popular, I feel like I'm using someone else's deck. Which happens, but I don't know. I love that version of Judgment. I think I might have left both copies in it, because this one does come with a bunch of other versions of different cards. Sorry, I was thinking about this one and how it's just nice. I like it. Beautiful. Does the trick. Gives me what I want. These do not match, by the way. Would never pair these two together. They're like, I can feel them screaming at each other. This one's a weird one. I'm not sure I like that particular card. It's a fun 8 of Wands. But yeah, I don't know. They're their own thing. But again, they take away that clarity that a deck like this gives with its pips, right? Marseille pips. I like them. Should honor them more. So I'm looking forward to the expanding my Marseille deck horizon. But yeah, it's one of those ones where you really, I feel like I really don't need that many of them. Because, you know, does the trick. Is everything I could possibly want. So. Alrighty, those are the decks. That's what I had to share today with you guys. Yeah. See, in this one we've got Death, number 13, unnamed. That's normal. It's got whispers. It's got whispers of everything squished into it. And I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting, which I probably still could, the this one, but not in the illustrated pips. So I could have my pip cards, but you know, I've got so much else that's really it's unnecessary, is what I think. But oh, this is just a nice deck, and in my brain, like it's another Rider-Waite Smith that's kind of cosplaying a Marseille deck. It's like wearing a costume of a Marseille deck, but not super well. But it reads so well. It's so lovely. Alright. So, books. Just quickly. If you're still here, you win. I only have a couple of Marseille specific books, which I think I mentioned before, but if you want just like a quick crash course type book that's simple, easy to kind of navigate with a lot of juicy tidbitty information, this one, Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews, is great. It compares different decks. It has different, representations of the card based on a number of different Marseille decks. So you can find one that, resonates with you, a style that you like, and then explore the deck that way, which is nice. So it's got all the majors, and then it's got card combos, different ways to read more cartomantically and directionally. This is a really good book, and I don't think it's $26 US. So a great place to start if you're looking to kind of explore how to use a Marseille deck otherwise. And then this one is a course. Read Like the Devil by Camelia Elias. And she does one for Lenormand. She does one for playing cards as well. Anyway, and there's another one she does. That's not the course. It's just called the Marseille Tarot, I think. Anyway, I have this. I think it's good. I haven't read too much of it yet, so can't say too much. So I'm gonna bust this out as this little deep dive into reading Marseille goes for me. I want to learn more, and as I said, I'm not an expert. I don't want to become an expert. I just want to I'm curious. It's curiosity. I'm not studying for any particular goal. There's a little fire that's been lit under and in the umbrella of decks that are Marseille decks, and I want to get to know them. I want to meet them. I want to greet them, and have a good time with no intention of being a teacher or knowing everything, feeling like I know everything, because I don't think I will. I think so much of the history of tarot, Marseille deck specifically, is shrouded in secrecy because that's how tarot works. It is supposed to be secret, so there was secrets kept, information withheld on purpose. And I like it. I like that. It doesn't all need to be exposed. So I want to see how I can use it in my life, and get to enjoy it in the process. So yeah, that's been my foray, playing with decks that I've had. There's my card of the year. Playing with decks that I already had kicking around, getting to know them. Getting to know me through them is kind of more of an accurate representation of how they've been showing up for me, and I've just been having a good time. So that's the tarot roundup. that's everything for now, I guess. I don't want to go into any more rambly detail. I hope you've had a good time. Please let me know down below your favorite Marseille deck. Like, if there's one, if you only have one, who is it? You can tell me why if you want. If not, no worries. But I'm very curious as to which one floats your boat. But it's fun. It's like putting on clothes that because it's tarot, but also they're different at the same time. Anywho, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Have a look into the channel membership space if you want any extra content. I put up there's the 4 readings each month. And then at the next tier, there's a bunch of extra bonus videos in there for you. Discord server where we chat. Fun emojis that I made. Stuff and things. So, if you have any questions, just let me know. But thanks, everybody. And I will see all you fine people in my next video. Okay, bye.